The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The government has been in office for nearly a decade. The Prime Minister is leaving for Glasgow a week from now, but still has no climate policy. Why does the Prime Minister always delay, always blame others, and then when he does act, it's always too little and too late?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Under our government's policies, when we were first elected in 2013, we said at that election that we would meet those Kyoto targets, Mr Speaker, and we did. And we did. We beat Kyoto 1, Mr Speaker. We beat Kyoto 2. And, Mr Speaker, as we go forward to 2030, our policy on 2030 is very clear. 26 to 28%, Mr Speaker. That is the policy that, as Prime Minister, I took to the last election. Mr Speaker, that was endorsed by the Australian people at the last election. A policy, Mr Speaker, that we will not just meet, but we will beat for 2030, Mr Speaker. Now, there was another policy. It was put forward by the Labor Party. It was for a 45% reduction in emissions, Mr Speaker, and the Labor Party have walked away from that policy. They say that's no longer their policy. So there's an obvious question. What is the Labor Party's commitment on 2030? Nobody knows, Mr Speaker. Nobody knows what their commitment is to 2030. They know what the government's commitment is, and they know that under our policies, emissions have fallen by more than 20% on 2005 levels, Mr Speaker, which is more than the United States, more than Japan, it's more than Canada, it's more than New Zealand, comparable economies to Australia, and Australia's track record on this issue, Mr Speaker, speaks volumes about the achievement of Australians. Mr Speaker, under our policies, Australia has one of the highest, if not the highest rates of rooftop solar in the world. Mr Speaker, in 2020, Australia installed 7 gigawatts of new renewable energy capacity. And as the Minister for Energy has reminded the House, Mr Speaker, in 1 year, under our government's policies, we exceeded the renewable investment of 6 years under the Labor Party, Mr Speaker. And our investment is nearly 8 times faster per capita than the global average in renewables. That's around 8 times faster than New Zealand and Japan, and around 3 times faster than the United States, China, Germany and the European Union, Mr Speaker. Under our policies, emissions are coming down and jobs are going up, Mr Speaker. Under our policy, emissions are coming down and there are 1 million people now working in manufacturing. Under the Labor Party, 1 in 8 manufacturing jobs gone, Mr Speaker. That's what a carbon tax does, Mr Speaker. That's what punishing taxes does. And under our policies, we're getting emissions down, they're falling, and we're putting employment up. We're seeing exports go up. We're seeing the resources industry, the natural gas industry, the LNG industry, all of these sectors, critical minerals, clean energy supply chains being established under the policies of our government. Under those opposite, Mr Speaker, no plan,
the Prime Minister's
no
time
idea.
has concluded.